Hi and welcome to my channel. My name's Tim Gregg. Great to have you here. This is probably going to be one of these videos where you go back on people's channels and you see way back 4 years ago they started their channel and they did one video and they've had 100 people looking at it, and while their current videos are higher. So sometimes I go back to the early start of people's channels and just try and like and keep them going. Anyway, I've started this channel, already getting sidetracked. I've started this channel because basically I've kind of returned to photography a little bit the last 6 months, 2 years, and realised that there's always room for another channel about photography because it's such an amazing hobby, amazing passion. I've loved it. I started photography when I was a little kid, probably about 10 or 11, and I remember that distinctly because I went into my dad's darkroom and flicked the light on and probably got a hiding, but I remember him yelling at me and screaming at me to get out, and then he apologised because he realised I had no clue what I was doing. So that's, 50 odd years I've been in and out of photography and messing around with cameras, as they say. I realised as I set this video up I probably should have chosen a different chair because I'm kind of slumping down and feeling like I should sit down like that. Anyway, hopefully it's working out okay. So what's my channel going to be about? Well, it's work in progress, obviously, and as we all know, these things change as we're going along. And I plan to sort of look at photography from a little bit different to most people. It's really rarely going to be focused on equipment. I'm not a big fan of checking out equipment and pixel counting and megapixels this and sensors that. And while I'm talking about that subject, probably primarily analog, but maybe not. I mean, I do have a digital camera there. That's a Sony A6400, and it's probably my main camera. Not really. To be honest, I don't really like it. It's just, I've had small cameras all my life, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Like my primary cameras for years ago, film cameras, were these OM1s from 75, around about that time, 75, 77. I've had a number of these. This is an OM1. I've had OM2s and OM4s, and I've had multiple bodies when I've been travelling around the world. So I had a pair of black-bodied OM4s, which I bought in Germany at an amazing price. This was a long time ago, and I just love those cameras, and I still love this camera, but I haven't used it for a long time. I have two of these. This one's kind of under repair. You may not be able to see. It's got its base off. It's got some levering cam problems, which I think I've finally got down to fixing. Well, we'll have it fixed shortly. But so I've got a pair of these, pretty well identical, same lens, Zeiss lens. It's just a beautiful camera. It's got a beautiful weight to it. It feels fantastic in your hand. My point was here that the Sony is a very small camera too, but it just doesn't feel the same. There's more plastics in it and things like that, but the dials and it's digital, so everything's push on the back and do that, and you can set it up exactly how you want it, but I don't know, I just don't love picking it up. And that's what I believe photography should be about. That it should be about loving to pick up your camera and just loving to go out and shoot, and loving walking around and seeing things that that nobody else sees, and we'll go into that as the channel goes on, some ways to work that out. So pair of OMs, still got them. Also just recently, and I haven't used it yet, I bought this beautiful half frame Pen D3, another Olympus product. It too just feels beautiful. It's I've written these down because I'm forgetting them. 65, 69 these things were made. It's a gorgeous camera. I got this for $80 Australian dollars. That's crazy, like $50 US, $60. Because no one wants them and no one uses them. They're half frames, so they're half a 35mm, which means that when you're shooting like this, you're shooting vertical, and when you're shooting like that, you're shooting horizontal. It's a bit landscape. It's a bit weird to get used to, but I'll get used to it. And I can't wait to load some FP4 or something, Ilford FP4 into this camera and just go out and see what I can do with it. Probably, street, urban photography. I don't really know what the market was originally when these came out. I think reading a little bit about it was really to save film costs back in the day, which is extraordinary given what film costs are now. But Pentax have just released their beautiful little number. That's a half frame camera, and to everyone's amazement, Forgetting that, Polaroid, no, Kodak had some, the Olympus had, these have been going for years and years. Sure, it's a digital, it's a film, it is a film camera, but it's a newer camera designed this year, brought out this year. So that's marvellous. Speaking of Pentax, the real love of my life right now, and I bought this again, having had the Sony, and just not happy is this Pentax KX. This is a whopping, it's a DSLR, so it's got the benefits of an SLR camera, but digital. And the benefits of the SLR are basically being able to look through the viewfinder. I mean, it's got a beautiful viewfinder which you just see what you are photographing. You're seeing the world as it is, not as portrayed by electronics on a screen, like a digital camera. And yeah, you can get used to that, but it's just something about the usability and the ergonomics about just seeing what you're doing. Plus, it just fits in the hand beautifully. It's ergonomically, it's designed beautifully. I haven't been a Pentax person ever, I don't think. I've had all sorts, well, I'll go into some of the other cameras I've had that I don't have anymore, and probably put them up on this video as I'm going along. I've forgotten what I was going to say, but yeah, it's just turning out to be, I've only had this 3 weeks and it's a beautiful camera. I've got the original lens that came with it, actually got 2 of them thrown in, and this Sigma 18 to 200mm, which is not a bad lens. It's got a little bit of distortion. I noticed I was doing what they call a Pink Floyd shooting a wall, and it's got a little bit of curvature in the top of it. It's no big deal. I mean, all lenses, well, probably not all lenses, but many lenses have that, and we don't even notice them unless we're shooting straight things, which we rarely do, of course. We're humans. It's got a screen on the back, but doesn't flip out or anything. I'm perfectly happy with that. I've seen people on YouTube complaining because some of the cameras don't have a flip out screen and they're complaining about the knees. Well, fair enough, but I don't have a problem with my knees. I'm 68 years old, and I love using this camera. I'll get down on the ground, I'll hang over things and lean out. Yeah, I suppose it's heavy, really, but I like that weight. I think things need to feel right in your hands, and I probably have bigger hands than some people, but again, having said that, I don't have a problem even with the little Pen 3. It's not a size thing, it's a weight and ergonomics thing more. Well, weight, probably ergonomics as well. That's what it's really about for me. For me, I just want to, I just can't wait to pick up a camera and go out. Sony, I don't want to hammer on about it, but a lot of people do say that, yeah, technically brilliant. This camera I'm pointing at, but I'll take a photo and put that up, is, I don't know what they are now. They've been kind of superseded by 6700, I believe. Not sure what that does. Probably different sensor, I don't know. Who knows? It was $1,300 or something like that. So it's not an expensive camera by today's standards. I suppose I'd call that mid-range, but then I'm not an equipment person, so I don't really know all the prices. I know you can buy the Pentax DSLRs, the K5s, K7s for $9 Australian dollars, maybe. Or let's talk US dollars, maybe $600, $400, $500, $600 for, and that's 2 different cameras. For 16 megapixels, I think 21 megapixels or 20. This is a whopping 11 point something, let's call it 12. I do notice that somewhat, a little bit, probably because I've been used to the digital, because that's 20, now I've forgotten, 24, or is it, whatever it is. It's more than 11. So let's just say it's got twice as big a sensor in it. That's APS-C. So anyway, I didn't really want to go on about the equipment, but I think it's important as the channel progresses. I'll probably talk a little bit more about comfort and ease of use and what I believe photography is really about, which is more about art. And it's not about, for me, it's not about, as I said, megapixels and technical stuff a lot. The majority of the world, I mean, I'm kind of generalising, but let's face it, I think 99% of the world's greatest photography were done on substandard cameras by today's standards. Everything from box brownies, which I did have, to box cameras with holes in them, so pinhole cameras, to crappy Russian cameras, Leicas and everything else, but even the old Leicas, well, I won't say they're substandard, but technically they don't rate the same as newer cameras, but really this is the whole point. When you talk about a film camera, which is really a great lens and something to hold the film and allow the light to come in and stop the light coming in, that's about it with a film camera. There's not a lot of stuff to get in the way, and I think really for me, digital is a lot of the things in digital, the more I read into, tech specs and things like that, it's like correcting the inherent problems of a digital camera. I'm generalising again, but to me it's like, well, you wouldn't have this problem at all with a film camera. You wouldn't have this problem with a film camera. That's a digital camera problem that doesn't occur with a film camera. That's just technology. I mean, it's great that manufacturers are constantly upgrading cameras to take care of those problems. I think somehow we've reached the point where really like 16 megapixels, 20 megapixels is probably more than enough, because let's face it, most of it are looking on tiny screens, or if we're not looking on tiny screens, we're looking at computer monitors, which, at best are 4, 5, 6K. Oh, sorry, megapixels. It's ridiculous the amount of resolution we seek, yet we're going to show them on a small screen. Now, having said that, a 7 megapixel camera, yeah, you will notice a difference, but there's actually something about it which, it's not the colour necessarily, unless it's a CCD sensor, but it's something about its softness that kind of makes you love the photograph as well. So, I might even compare like a digital camera a digital shot with the same photo with a film camera or something with low megapixels. And you can just see actually, there's an inherent beauty in the softness. I saw a picture taken the other day in a family picture of someone's mother, which was something like 1919. And it was on it was black and white, of course, although slightly sepia. And it was a picture of a baby, young girl, child person, and it was beautiful. It was soft because of the lens issues probably and the way things were, but that softness was just perfect. And I put it to you and anyone listening that some of the sharpness we see, and don't let me get started on 4K, 6K, 8K TVs and even video just I see on YouTube, it's like, it's getting weird, because there's this cartoon cutout effect where it's so sharp, it's becoming unnatural. Having said that, probably people will get used to it, and it is what it is. So that's just me. But I've been around a long time, so I see the differences. I'm not saying we should go back to film or go back to anything else. They both have their most amazing qualities. But I'd like to, I know there's a resurgence in analog and film at the moment, and there's probably a good reason for that. I mean, weirdly enough, I've got an analog watch and I love it. It sounds weird, like I'm going back into old time, but not really. I mean, I had an Apple Watch, and to be honest, I was just sick of it beeping at me and telling me this, telling me that, and telling me I'm walking, telling me this. I was sick of it, so I went out and spent $12. Got a watch which will probably, unfortunately, will probably have to be replaced, because I suspect the battery is going to be more expensive than the watch, which is a terrible thing. But the next upgrade for me will be a better analog watch. So, getting sidetracked. Last camera to show, I think. Your Sheikah Flex twin lens, TLR, twin lens reflex camera. 2 lenses, one for viewing, one for the shot. I think I got that. Yes, that's right. Takes 120 size film, so medium format. Heavy, clunky. It's all made of metal. I think the entire thing is metal. Maybe I've forgotten the name of the fabric. Is gosh, I don't know what it would have been in 1956. Some sort of weird plastic. I don't know when plastic was even invented. In pretty good condition. I haven't had this for a long time. I probably had it 5 years. It was basically born when I was born, so there's something, I've got a closeness to it. I'm going to go out and use this again. I've just got to pick what sort of photos I'm going to take with this, because this is a slow, contemplative type of camera, probably landscape, maybe portraiture. I've seen people use this sort of camera, well actually quite a few people have used in the past these street cameras, what we call street photography. All praise to them. And, or, you know, Rolleiflex, Yashica Flex. I'm not going to say the same thing, but twin lens reflexes. A beautiful camera to use in terms of just the craft and the art of photography. And you look down at it, so it's got a different level. I don't know whether, can't remember where I've cropped the film here, the video. But, you know, you can look at it like this for focusing and stuff, or you can just use zone focusing, because focusing is not, you're looking down on a ground screen. So, speaking of ground screens, in the past I've had a 4x5 Cinar camera, so large format camera. It was came in a big box. It was a beautiful camera. I think they're Swiss. The resolution, the grain of the negatives, which are this big, are just unbelievable. They're, I was going to say soft, but they have a softness to them because there's no grain. Well, you know, you can't see the grain. Same with a medium format. It's really, anyone who starts shooting medium format just goes, wow, this is a knockout. There's such a big difference between 35mm and medium grain. So this video is probably going a bit long. Of course, I've got an iPhone up here, which I'm filming on as well. What else have I got? I've got a Hero, a GoPro, which I use for, I will be using for sort of taking trips out and showing people what I'm doing. I also use it for work a little bit. Again, it's an old one. It's a GoPro 3. It's okay. It's okay. I looked at the new ones and I thought, yeah, I don't want to spend $600-700 on this. I'm not sure whether I really want to use it or not. So really that's what the channel's about. I mean, I'll be doing things like how to develop black and white film, as far as I remember, how I know, how to load film cameras. I mean, silly things like that, really simple things, but I know people will be interested. I'll be pushing and pulling film in development. I'm moving around a lot at the moment, so I don't have room for a dark room, but I do have room for developing tanks and a bag. Really, that's not much else to it. So I'll be showing how I do that and the effects of pushing and pulling film, how you can play with a bit, not that it's a massive thing to be done. And I'll also be, I think because film is coming back, there's a lot of new films around which are weird and wonderful, which I'd love to try out and to show what they look like. Also, I'll be trying all the old traditional films like Ilford FP4, HP5, was that right? I think I got that right. Anyway, Ilford films, Kodak Tri-X. I've got some really old film there, expired years ago, many years ago, which I'll be trying out just for the hell of it. But everything will be scanned digitally and then done that way. So I'm going to stop. So it'll be analog up to the digital scan. Hope that's interesting. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not a professional videographer in terms of talking to camera. This is always really awkward because of the inherent weirdness of looking at a single eye and having the thing not do anything when you're talking to it. But I hope that's okay, and please subscribe if you're interested in finding out what I'm doing and finding out about analog and digital cameras. And like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the journey, and I look forward to your comments, and I'll endeavour as much as I can to comment when I can. So thanks for listening.